What's going on there, YouTube, and welcome back to another comic book video. Okay, guys, so we are going to continue our coverage over X-Men Red with X-Men Red number 3 as a way to continue our coverage over Destiny of X. Now, let me tell y'all something real quick. X-Men Red number 3 is truthfully a Magneto book. And honestly, guys, it is one heck of a book for our boy Magneto. Like, at the end of this issue, Homeboy reminds us who the heck he is. Like, he is Magneto. He is an Omega level mutant for good reasons. And so, guys, I truly believe you are really gonna like the end of this storyline. And so to get into today's storyline, we actually do pick up with the return of Cable. Now, the reason why I say the return of Cable, because back in X-Men Red number 2, Cable died. Because remember, Abigail Brand put together her own X-Men team to technically control Arrako. But anyways, though, right after she did that, they went on their first mission and Cable died. And so right now, technically, you have the 5 bringing him back to life. And remember, the 5 are technically 5 mutants who have the ability to make you a new clone body and then download your memories into that new clone body, as a way to say you were brought back to life. Either way, right now, when it comes to Cable, he's right now coming back to life. Now, as soon as he does come back to life, he is confronted by Thunderbird, the original Thunderbird, the one that died back in like Uncanny X-Men number, I want to say 96 or 97. Either way, he was brought back to life recently as well. Now, the last time we saw these two characters on the same page, they actually showed that they hate one another. And matter of fact, it seemed like they were going to fight each other back in X-Men Red number 1. But of course, they did not. Well, we kind of find out that technically Cable and also Thunderbird are working together to bring down Abigail Brand, because they both know that technically she is a crooked person. In reality, she is, because remember, she's right now working alongside with Orchid. And remember, Orchid is a new group in Marvel Comics that wants to get rid of the mutant race. And even though she is a mutant, she's actually helping them out. Now, with that being said, we also kind of find out that Manifold wants to help out as well, which honestly makes a whole lot more sense, because in X-Men Red number 1, when Abigail Brand put the team together, her own X-Men team, he instantly quit right then and there, said, no, I will not be part of this X-Men team, as a way to control Arrako. And now we know why, because him, Cable, and also Thunderbird are going to work together to bring down Abigail Brand. And matter of fact, we actually do pick up right now with Abigail Brand talking to Storm about the idea of the next duel. Now remember, when it comes to Abigail Brand, technically right now, what she is trying to do is actually have someone on the inside of the Great Ring. Now remember, the Great Ring is technically the government body for Arrako. It's very similar to the Quiet Council. Now with that being said, when it comes to the Great Ring, you do have at least 10 people on the Great Ring, including Storm. But right now, what Abigail Brand wants to do is use Vulcan as a way to take out a member of the actual Great Ring, so he'll be able to replace that person in the Great Ring. And of course, the way to do that is to have a duel to the death. Now, here's the big thing though, because remember, Vulcan right now is a tad bit crazy. And unfortunately, we have no idea why. I mean, we have some idea, but not the complete storyline. But on top of that, Vulcan also has been depowered as well. Not completely, but to a certain point where unfortunately, he's not able to actually take out other characters like he should. Now, with that being said though, when it comes to Vulcan, he's right now about to fight against Tarn. Now remember, Tarn, one of those characters that appeared recently in Marvel Comics, but he's a very powerful Omega level mutant. And of course, he also has a seat on the Great Ring. Now, also, when it comes to Tarn, he has a bad rep, where most of the mutants of Arrako hate this man a lot. And so if Vulcan is able to kill off Tarn, then Vulcan will literally get a seat at the Great Ring just like that, because then the people of Arrako are going to love him for it. Now, the thing is though, Storm knows that Abigail Brand is actually up to something. The thing is though, she has no idea. And matter of fact, she's very worried for Vulcan right now, because Vulcan could possibly die at the hands of course, Tarn the Uncalling. And so right now, it's her saying, do not do this, Abigail. Like, call your boy off. But of course, Abigail says no, and the duel is going to happen. And so after that meeting, you actually have Storm go over to the Brotherhood of Arrako. Now, this team belongs to Storm. But remember, when it comes to this team right here, their main goal right now is to lead the people of Arrako in a better direction. Because technically, when it comes to the mutants of Arrako, they are a tad bit rough. They're a tad bit unfriendly. And so right now, it's Storm saying, let's try to fix that. Let's actually try to help these mutants and lead them in a better direction. Now, here's the thing though, because when she does meet up with the rest of the Brotherhood of Arrako, she does tell them what she just learned from Abigail Brand, that technically Vulcan is going to fight against Tarn. Now, of course, when Fisherman hears that, he knows how this could actually help Vulcan out a lot, because again, the entire nation of Arrako, they truthfully hate Tarn a lot. And so if someone is able to actually kill him, matter of fact, all the mutants of Arrako will be on that person's side. And so if Vulcan's able to do that, it will be a great thing for him. But at the same time though, you have Fisherman say, unfortunately, I don't believe Vulcan will be able to actually do it. Now, you then have Storm ask Magneto to basically fight against Tarn so that Magneto will be able to get a seat at the Great Ring. But Magneto does not want to do that, because right now, this is technically a broken Magneto. And what I mean by that is, this man has gone through a lot over the years in Marvel Comics, literally a lot. But the thing is, he just left the Quiet Council, of course, the government body for Krakoa. He left that role right there to basically come here for a fresh start, a new beginning. And his goal was not to become part of the Great Ring, another government body. He just wants to be left alone. But unfortunately, you have Sunspot say, listen, I know what you want to do, but I know what you can do. Meaning that even though you want to relax and basically not be part of something new, the thing is though, if you are able to actually become a member of the Great Ring, it will be a great thing for the actual nation of Arrako. But at the same time though, this is still Magneto saying no, and he walks away. And so we actually do jump forward to the big battle between Tarn and of course Vulcan. Now, when it comes to this battle, of course, it's going to be at first a great battle. And the reason why, because both characters are actually able to manipulate energies. And so of course, they're technically able to shut each other powers down for the time being. And so technically right now, they have to fight with their fists. Now here's the thing though, because Tarn is technically still more stronger than actual Vulcan. Now, while you have the two characters actually fighting against one another, here's the big thing, because in the crowd, you do have different characters communicating with one another. But the biggest conversation is actually Sunspot and of course another person better known as Iska. Now, when it comes to Iska, she can never lose. Like technically that is her mutant ability, that she can never lose anything at all. A battle, a bet, a game, no matter what, she can never lose. And so right now, it's her and Sunspot talking to one another. Now, here's the thing though, because while you have Sunspot and her talking, is Sunspot saying right now, there is a way to lose without actually losing. And that right there is very sketchy, because kind of like, what do you mean? Like, there's a way to lose without losing? Are you saying there's a way to win while losing? Like, how in the world does that actually work? Either way, though, when it comes to Iska, she's all like, either way, when it comes to my mutant ability, I can never lose. I always win. And of course, Sunspot has a way around that actually. Either way, getting back to the battle between Vulcan and also Tarn, Well, of course, Vulcan does lose the battle just like that. And you would think that means everything is finally done and everybody can go home. Except that is the moment where you have Magneto appear. Now, when Magneto actually appears, this is Magneto right now saying, I want to be the next challenger. Now, this is actually very huge because if Magneto actually wins this duel, that means he'll be the next person to be able to get a seat at the Great Ring. But here's the thing though, guys, because right now Tarn had technically been depowered. Not completely, but mostly, because remember, him and Vulcan had the ability to manipulate each other's powers. And so right now, Vulcan did technically depower Tarn, but those powers are right now returning, which means that sooner or later, this is not going to be a fair battle between Magneto and Tarn. Now, while you have the two characters talking to one another, we do jump over to, of course, Sunspot and Iska conversation once again, because this is the moment where technically you have Sunspot explain that you could lose without losing, or you could win while losing as well. Now, here's the thing though, guys, because remember, when it comes to Iska, she technically has the ability to never lose, but she's about to lose right now. And what I mean by that is you have Sunspot say, let's take a bet here on who is going to win, Magneto or Tarn. Now, here is the way you could lose without losing, or win without losing. It's very confusing. Either way, it's a way for Sunspot to technically win the bet against Iska, to basically work against her powers. And what I mean by that is, he said, let's see who is going to win, Magneto or Tarn. But the thing is though, when it comes to Iska powers, she can never lose, which means she has to choose the right person to win this bet. And the thing is, the right person to choose is of course Tarn, but that is a problem because remember, Tarn is the most hated person on Arrako for all the bad things he did to the people of Arrako. And technically to Iska, she also hates Tarn as well. And so technically she realized that she has to cheer on for the man she hates the most. And that right there is hard to do. But at the same time though, she does win the bet, but she also loses because she has to cheer for him, the guy she hates the most. And that right there sets her off because now she realized that technically she lost in the long run to Sunspot. He was able to defeat her powers. And that right there is very huge. But this actually leads into the big moment where you have Magneto being able to actually defeat Tarn, because what he does is basically grab his helmet, he puts the helmet on Tarn's head and just squeezes his head until it explodes, crushing his skull and killing Tarn just like that, because Magneto realized that Tarn powers are coming back very soon, and so he had to technically win the fight then and there to make sure there's no way he could lose the battle. And so technically Magneto is now part of the Great Ring because he was able to defeat Tarn just like that. But this is where we are going to end today's comic book video. So please leave me a like down below and subscribe. But guys, I'll see y'all next time. Later.